If you're one of the 37 million Americans living with diabetes, giving up bread might feel like giving up comfort itself. Most diabetics have been told that bread is off limits, that every slice sends their blood sugar skyrocketing and sabotages their health goals. But here's something your doctor might not have told you. The right bread can actually support your blood sugar control instead of destroying it. We're not talking about those fluffy white loaves that spike your glucose in minutes. Today, I'm breaking down the 3 best breads that endocrinologists and diabetes specialists actually recommend for their diabetic patients, complete with the science, real studies, and practical meal ideas you can start using at breakfast tomorrow. Stick around because number 1 might completely change how you think about bread and diabetes. Just had bread today? Check your blood sugar 90 minutes after eating and comment your number below. Let's see how different breads affect real diabetics in real life. Let's begin with number 1. 1. Bread number 1. Sprouted grain bread. Let me tell you why sprouted grain bread sits at the top of every endocrinologist's list for diabetic patients. This isn't just another health food trend. This is backed by serious medical research that could transform how you manage your blood sugar every single day. A landmark 2012 study published in the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism followed type 2 diabetic patients for 12 weeks and discovered something remarkable. Those who replaced regular bread with sprouted grain bread experienced a 20% reduction in post-meal blood sugar spikes compared to the control group eating whole wheat bread. That's not a minor improvement. That's the kind of impact that can lower your A1C levels and reduce your diabetes medication needs over time. Here's what makes sprouted grain bread a powerhouse for diabetics. The sprouting process fundamentally changes the grain structure in ways that benefit blood sugar control. When grains like wheat, barley, and millet are sprouted, enzymes break down the starches into simpler components that your body processes differently. 2 slices of sprouted grain bread contain 8 draws of protein, 6 grams of fiber, 30 grams of total carbohydrates with only 24 grams of net carbs, and a glycemic index of 35 to 45 compared to white bread's glycemic index of 75. The difference in how your body responds is dramatic and measurable, but the real magic happens at the cellular level with something called resistant starch. Research from the American Diabetes Association shows that sprouted grains contain significantly higher levels of resistant starch than regular bread. This special type of starch literally resists digestion in your small intestine and instead feeds beneficial bacteria in your colon. The result is a slower, more gradual release of glucose into your bloodstream. Clinical measurements show that resistant starch can reduce the glycemic response of a meal by up to 30%, which means your blood sugar rises more slowly and peaks at a lower level. Harvard Medical School conducted a comprehensive study tracking over 15,000 adults for nearly 18 years. The results were published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and showed that people who ate sprouted grain products regularly had a 34% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to those who ate refined grain products. Even more impressive, for those already diagnosed with diabetes, switching to sprouted grains was associated with better long-term glucose control and a 28% reduction in cardiovascular complications. These numbers represent real people avoiding real health problems through a simple dietary change. The mechanism behind sprouted grain bread's benefits is fascinating from a metabolic perspective. When grains sprout, their vitamin and mineral content increases dramatically. Vitamin C levels can increase by up to 600%. B vitamins jump by 20 to 30%. And minerals like iron and zinc become more bioavailable. For diabetics, the increase in B vitamins is particularly important because these nutrients support nerve health and help prevent diabetic neuropathy. The sprouting process also reduces phytic acid by up to 75%, a compound that normally blocks mineral absorption, meaning your body actually gets more nutrition from every slice. A 2018 study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry took this further by examining what happens when diabetics eat sprouted grain bread, specifically at breakfast. Participants who consumed 2 slices of sprouted grain bread with their morning meal showed significantly improved glycemic control throughout the entire day, not just after breakfast. Their average blood sugar levels were 18 to 25 points lower at lunch and dinner compared to days when they ate white or even whole wheat bread. The researchers concluded that starting your day with sprouted grain bread creates a metabolic advantage that carries through all your subsequent meals, a phenomenon known as the second meal effect. Now let's talk about practical application with doctor-approved recipes. Here's a breakfast that takes under 5 minutes. Toast 2 slices of sprouted grain bread until golden. Spread each slice with 1 tablespoon of natural almond butter. Top with half a sliced banana and sprinkle with 4 teaspoons of Ceylon cinnamon. This combination delivers 18 g of protein, 10 g of fiber, healthy fats from the almond butter, and the cinnamon provides compounds that improve insulin sensitivity by up to 29%. Your blood sugar will rise slowly and stay stable for 4 to 5 hours, eliminating mid-morning crashes and cravings. For lunch, try this diabetes-friendly open-faced sandwich. Take 1 slice of toasted sprouted grain bread. Spread with 2 tablespoons of mashed avocado. Layer on 3 oz of grilled chicken breast. Add sliced tomatoes and cucumber. And finish with a handful of mixed greens and a squeeze of lemon. The healthy fats from avocado combined with the protein from chicken and the fiber from the sprouted bread creates what nutritionists call a complete glycemic buffer. This meal provides 35 g of protein and will keep your blood sugar stable throughout the afternoon. When shopping for sprouted grain bread, read labels with a critical eye. You want to see sprouted whole grains listed as the first ingredients, not just whole wheat flour. Legitimate sprouted grain breads will list ingredients like sprouted wheat, sprouted barley, sprouted millet, and sprouted lentils. Brands like Ezekiel 49, Alvarado Street Bakery, and Silver Hills are excellent choices, widely available in the freezer section of most grocery stores. Yes, sprouted grain bread is typically stored frozen because it contains no preservatives, which is actually a good sign. The bread stays fresh in your freezer for months and thaws quickly, or you can toast it directly from frozen. Avoid anything labeled sprouted wheat bread that lists enriched flour or regular whole wheat flour as the primary ingredient. These products are using sprouted grains as a marketing gimmick while still using mostly refined flour. The ingredients should be predominantly sprouted grains. Also avoid versions with added sugars or honey in the first 5 ingredients, as these defeat the purpose of choosing a low glycemic bread option. The American Heart Association points out that sprouted grain bread reduces LDL cholesterol by 5 to 8% while slightly raising HDL cholesterol. This matters tremendously because diabetics have double the risk of heart disease compared to non-diabetics. The combination of blood sugar control and cardiovascular protection makes sprouted grain bread the most comprehensive choice for diabetic health. Clinical trials have shown that diabetics who incorporate sprouted grain bread into their daily routine see measurable improvements in their lipid panels within just 6 to 8 weeks. Bread number 2, sourdough bread. Sourdough bread comes in at number 2. And before you dismiss it as too artisanal or complicated, understand that this ancient bread-making method has some of the most robust scientific backing of any bread type for diabetic management. The fermentation process that creates sourdough doesn't just develop flavor, it fundamentally changes how your body processes the carbohydrates. If this helped you understand bread and diabetes better, like this and subscribe for more simple, diabetes-friendly food guidance. A groundbreaking 2017 study published in the British Journal of Nutrition followed 120 diabetic patients for 8 weeks. The researchers divided participants into groups based on bread consumption. Those who ate authentic sourdough bread showed a 25% lower glucose response compared to those eating standard whole wheat bread. Their average post-meal blood sugar readings were 30 to 35 points lower, and their insulin requirements decreased by an average of 18%. That's the equivalent of improving your body's insulin sensitivity through food choice alone. Let's break down what makes sourdough special for blood sugar control. 2 slices of authentic sourdough contains 7 g of protein, 4 g of fiber, 36 grain of carbohydrates, with about 32 grain of net carbs. And here's the key difference: a glycemic index of just 48 to 54 compared to regular bread's 70 to 75. The fermentation process that creates sourdough produces lactic acid and acetic acid, which slow down the rate at which your stomach empties. This creates a gradual release of glucose into your bloodstream, rather than a sharp spike that overwhelms your insulin response. Here's something most people don't know about sourdough. The wild yeast and beneficial bacteria in sourdough starter actually predigest some of the starches and proteins in the flour before you even eat it. Research from the University of Guelph in Canada shows that this fermentation process can reduce the glycemic response of bread by up to 30%. The longer the fermentation time, the greater the benefit. Traditional sourdough fermented for 24 hours or more provides maximum blood sugar control. The British Journal of Nutrition published a comprehensive analysis in 2019 showing that diabetics who consumed sourdough bread 5 times per week had a 23% reduction in A1C levels over 6 months compared to those eating conventional bread. Their fasting morning glucose levels also improved by an average of 22 points. Given that elevated A1C is the primary indicator of long-term diabetes complications, this represents a significant protective effect achieved through a simple dietary substitution. Sourdough also delivers something unexpected for diabetics: improved gut health. The fermentation process creates prebiotics and probiotics that support your digestive system's microbiome. Emerging research from Johns Hopkins University suggests that gut health directly influences insulin sensitivity through mechanisms we're still discovering. Diabetics who improve their gut microbiome often see corresponding improvements in blood sugar control. The acetic acid in sourdough feeds beneficial bacteria while creating an environment that's hostile to harmful bacteria. A fascinating 20-in-20 study from Lund University in Sweden examined the timing and portion sizes of sourdough consumption for diabetics. They found that eating 1 to 2 slices of authentic sourdough with meals that contained protein and healthy fats provided optimal blood sugar stability. The key was pairing the sourdough with foods that further slowed digestion. Participants who followed this protocol saw their post-meal glucose peaks reduced by 28%, and their overall daily blood sugar variability decreased significantly. Here's your go-to sourdough recipe for breakfast that you'll actually look forward to eating. Toast 2 slices of sourdough bread until crispy. Spread each with 1 tablespoon of full-fat cream cheese. Layer on smoked salmon, add thin slices of red onion and capers, and top with fresh dill and a squeeze of lemon. This combination delivers 25 grams of protein, healthy omega-3 fats from the salmon, and creates virtually no blood sugar spike. The protein and fat content combined with sourdough's natural properties keep your glucose stable for hours. For a satisfying lunch that feels indulgent but keeps blood sugar in check, try this diabetes-friendly grilled cheese. Use 2 slices of sourdough. Add 2 slices of sharp cheddar cheese. Layer and slice tomatoes and fresh basil and grill in a pan with a light coating of olive oil until golden brown. Serve with a side salad dressed with olive oil and vinegar. The combination of protein from cheese, lycopene from tomatoes, and the low glycemic properties of sourdough creates a complete meal that won't spike your blood sugar above 140 mg/dL if you're properly managing your diabetes. When choosing sourdough bread, authenticity matters tremendously for blood sugar benefits. Real sourdough is made with just 3 ingredients: flour, water, and salt, plus the wild yeast culture that creates the fermentation. It should have a distinctly tangy, slightly sour taste, and a chewy texture with irregular holes throughout. Many commercial sourdough breads are actually regular bread with artificial souring agents added, which provide no blood sugar benefits whatsoever. Look for sourdough from local bakeries that use traditional fermentation methods with at least 12 to 24-hour rising times. Ask the baker about their process. Commercial brands that are authentic include Bread SRs for gluten-free sourdough options and some bakery section sourdoughs from stores like Whole Foods. Read the ingredients. If you see yeast listed along with sourdough starter, it's not authentic traditional sourdough. True. Sourdough relies entirely on wild yeast from the starter. The fermentation in sourdough also breaks down gluten proteins, making it easier to digest for people with mild gluten sensitivities. While it's not safe for those with celiac disease, many diabetics who experience digestive discomfort from regular bread find sourdough much gentler on their system. This matters because good digestion directly affects blood sugar stability. Store your sourdough at room temperature in a paper bag for up to 3 days, or slice and freeze it for longer storage. Sourdough actually improves slightly after a day or two as the flavors develop, and it makes exceptional toast even when slightly stale. The affordability varies. Artisanal sourdough costs more than grocery store bread, but provides substantially better blood sugar control, making it a worthwhile investment in your health. Bread number 3. 100% whole grain pumpernickel bread. Pumpernickel bread takes the 3rd spot, and while it's less commonly discussed than sprouted grain or sourdough, it offers unique benefits that diabetics should absolutely know about. This dense, dark bread has been a staple in German and Eastern European cuisines for centuries, and modern science is now confirming what traditional cultures knew instinctively. Pumpernickel is exceptionally good for blood sugar control. A 2016 study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition conducted a 10-week trial with type 2 diabetics who consumed authentic pumpernickel bread daily. The results were striking. Participants showed a 19% improvement in insulin sensitivity markers. Their glucose tolerance test scores improved measurably, and their inflammatory markers decreased by 15%. The researchers identified specific compounds in the RI flour and the long, slow baking process that appear to help cells respond more effectively to insulin. Here's what makes pumpernickel special from a nutritional standpoint. 2 slices of authentic pumpernickel contains 6 g of protein, 5 g of fiber, 30 g of carbohydrates with 25 g of net carbs, and a remarkably low glycemic index of just 41 to 46. This is one of the lowest GI ratings of any bread type. The secret lies in the coarsely ground rye flour and the traditional baking method that uses low heat for many hours, which transforms the starches into a form that resists rapid digestion. Traditional pumpernickel is made from coarsely ground whole rye berries that retain their outer bran layer. This bran is exceptionally high in a type of fiber called arabinoxylan, which has been shown in multiple studies to improve blood sugar control. A meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition examined 18 different studies and found that arabinoxylan fiber reduces post-meal blood sugar spikes by an average of 22% and improves insulin sensitivity over time. The dark color of authentic pumpernickel comes from the Maillard reaction during the long baking process, not from added molasses or food coloring. This slow baking at low temperatures for up to 24 hours creates melanoidins, compounds that research suggests may have antioxidant properties and could help protect against diabetic complications. A 2018 study from the German Institute of Human Nutrition found that these melanoidins may help reduce oxidative stress in diabetic patients. Pumpernickel has a naturally rich, slightly sweet flavor, despite containing no added sugars in its traditional form. This makes it incredibly satisfying for diabetics who struggle with the restricted diet that diabetes often requires. The dense, hearty texture means you feel fuller from smaller portions, which helps with weight management, a critical factor in diabetes control. Here's a diabetes-friendly breakfast using pumpernickel that provides sustained energy. Toast 1 slice of pumpernickel bread spread with 2 tablespoons of cottage cheese. Layer on sliced hard-boiled egg. Add sliced cucumber and radishes and sprinkle with everything bagel seasoning and fresh black pepper. This combination delivers 20 grams of protein, complex carbohydrates that digest slowly and will keep your blood sugar stable until lunch. The cottage cheese adds probiotics and calcium, while the vegetables provide additional fiber. For lunch, try this European in-pired open-faced sandwich. Take 1 slice of pumpernickel spread with 1 tablespoon of whole grain mustard. Layer on 3 oz of sliced turkey breast. Add sauerkraut, Swiss cheese, and pickles. This creates a flavor-packed meal with 30 grams of protein, and the fermented sauerkraut adds additional gut health benefits. The combination of pumpernickel's low glycemic properties with high protein content keeps blood sugar remarkably stable. When purchasing pumpernickel bread, you must be vigilant about authenticity. Many American versions of pumpernickel are actually wheat bread with caramel coloring and molasses added to create a dark appearance. These provide none of the blood sugar benefits of authentic pumpernickel. Real pumpernickel should list whole rye flour or rye berries as the primary ingredient, not wheat flour. Look for German or European-style pumpernickel, often found in the specialty bread section or from European bakeries. Brands like Mischer make authentic German pumpernickel that comes in vacuum-sealed packages and doesn't require refrigeration until opened. The texture should be very dense, almost cake-like and dark brown throughout. If it's light and fluffy like regular bread, it's not authentic pumpernickel. Authentic pumpernickel contains no added sugars, though you might see blackstrap molasses listed in some recipes used traditionally in small amounts for flavor and color rather than sweetness. The carbohydrates should come primarily from the rye grain itself. Some versions include whole rye berries visible throughout the bread, which is an excellent sign of quality and provides even more fiber and slower digestion. Research from the University of Eastern Finland found that rye products like pumpernickel can help reduce the risk of diabetic complications through multiple mechanisms. The high fiber content supports digestive health. The minerals including magnesium and selenium support insulin function, and the slow-digesting carbohydrates prevent the blood sugar roller coaster that damages blood vessels over time. Study participants who ate rye bread products daily showed a 24% reduction in inflammatory markers associated with diabetes complications. Pumpernickel pairs exceptionally well with protein-rich toppings and fermented foods like cheese, pickled vegetables, and cured meats. This European approach to eating bread, always with substantial accompaniment rather than alone or with just butter, creates meals that naturally support blood sugar stability. 1 slice of pumpernickel with proper toppings is more satisfying and better for blood sugar than 2 or 3 slices of regular bread. Store pumpernickel in the refrigerator after opening, where it will stay fresh for up to 2 weeks, or freeze it for longer storage. The dense texture means it doesn't dry out as quickly as other breads. Many people find they prefer pumpernickel at room temperature or very lightly toasted, as heavy toasting can make it too hard. A light toast or eating it straight from the package works perfectly. Summary. There you have it. The 3 best breads for diabetics, each with unique strengths backed by real science. Start with sprouted grain bread for the most comprehensive nutritional benefits and the second meal effect that stabilizes blood sugar all day long. Use authentic sourdough bread for superior gut health and the powerful blood sugar benefits of traditional fermentation. Incorporate 100% whole grain pumpernickel for the lowest glycemic impact and exceptional satiety that helps control portions naturally. Remember, always choose authentic versions that list whole grains as the primary ingredients. Avoid anything with added sugars or enriched flour. And pair your bread with protein and healthy fats for maximum blood sugar stability. Try these breads and recipes this week. Measure your blood sugar response and watch your glucose numbers improve while enjoying bread again without guilt or worry.